For years, I believed that good leaders always said yes, even if it meant saying no to family. No matter what we choose, there's always a cost. Hi, friends. This is Todd Mills from Intermountain Coaching and Consulting, where we help you navigate life's terrain. One of the most important leadership lessons I ever learned didn't come from a conference or a book or even a classroom. It came from a family vacation. At the time, I was serving in pastoral leadership and had spent years operating under an assumption that many leaders carry without ever questioning it. I believe that leadership meant being available, always available. If someone called, you answered. If there was a need, you responded. If someone was hurting, you showed up. And while there is certainly truth in that mindset, over time it can quietly become something else. It can become the belief that your value is measured by how much of yourself you're willing to sacrifice. Several years ago, my wife Rhonda and I had planned a trip to Disney World with our children. This wasn't a last minute getaway. This had taken months of planning. The trip would celebrate our 20th anniversary, our daughter's 13th birthday, our son's 11th birthday. Schedules had been coordinated, reservations had been made, money had been saved, excitement had been building for months. Like many families, we had been looking forward to the chance to simply be together. Bags were nearly packed, we were preparing to leave, and the phone rang. A military veteran in our community had passed away. The family requested I conduct the funeral. Immediately, I felt the tension. I cared deeply about the family. I respected the veteran's service. I understood the significance of the moment, but I also knew what was waiting at home. A wife who had shared 20 years of life with me, children who had been counting down the days, a family commitment that had been on the calendar for 6 months. As soon as the conversation ended, the debate began in my head. What if I say no? What will people think? Will the family be disappointed? Am I letting someone down? Isn't this what leaders do? For years, my default answer was simple: say yes, figure it out later, carry the weight, make it work. But as I sat with the decision, something began to emerge. There were other capable leaders. There were other people who could serve the family well. There were others who could ensure that this veteran was honored appropriately. The funeral would happen, the family would be cared for, the community would continue. The world would not stop turning. The real question wasn't whether the family would be supported. The real question was whether I was willing to honor a commitment I had already made to our family. That realization was uncomfortable because many leaders are excellent at extending grace and understanding to everyone except themselves. We encourage others to rest. We encourage others to establish boundaries. We encourage others to care for their families. Then we quietly convince ourselves that those same principles don't apply to us. In the end, I chose to keep my commitment to my family. Now, I'd be dishonest if I told you everyone understood the decision. Not everyone did. But leadership sometimes requires making choices you believe are right, even when they're not universally applauded. The funeral was handled well. The family received the care they needed. The veteran was honored, and we went on our trip. What surprised me most wasn't the outcome. What surprised me was what happened inside me afterward. The guilt I expected never arrived. Instead, what arrived was clarity. I began to realize that healthy leadership isn't about carrying everything. It's about understanding what is yours to carry and what belongs to someone else. Leadership isn't measured by how exhausted you become. It isn't measured by how many family moments you sacrifice. It isn't measured by how much you neglect your own well-being. Healthy leadership requires stewardship. Stewardship of your energy, stewardship of your commitments, stewardship of your relationships, stewardship of your presence. Because every yes is also a no. When we say yes to one thing, we are always saying no to something else. The question is whether we're making those choices intentionally or simply reacting to whatever demand arrives next. One of the lies many leaders believe is that being needed is the same thing as being effective. It's not. Being needed can become addictive. Being needed can become an identity. And eventually, if we're not careful, we begin to confuse self sacrifice with leadership. I've come to believe something different. The healthiest leaders are not the ones who carry the most. They're the ones who know their limits, honor their commitments, and lead in ways that can be sustained over the long haul. Because leadership is not a sprint, it's a journey. And if we're going to navigate life's terrain well, we need enough strength left to enjoy the people we're leading for. So let me leave you with a question. What commitment, relationship, responsibility, or expectation are you carrying today that may no longer be yours to carry at all? And what might happen if you finally set it down? I'd like to invite you to check out our blog post at intermountaincoachingandconsulting.com, where you'll find a free resource, 5 questions to realign your life and leadership. Until next time.